Hey guys, it's Asha P.
Hey, we're
We
back.
are. It's both of us
Yeah,
together.
no more Tat. No, it was
Tash.
Tash, and I was Pat.
Mm, I
Tat.
don't know. Did you guys say that?
I feel like you had something. No. Oh, the TNP, the
Oh.
TNP show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Tristan, I Tristan stepped in.
She did.
Last
I know.
2 weeks.
I know. It's funny because, Jackson has said for how long? Like, I want to be on the podcast. Let me be on the podcast, right?
Uh-huh.
Which, when I try to get him to say anything, he's like, hi. Because farts. Seriously. No, seriously though. Yeah. He doesn't actually want to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like when I was editing, I was like waiting for he didn't say anything, but I was waiting for him to say something about it. But
yeah,
no, he didn't. So
well, she did good. She seemed very comfortable, and she really wanted to do it. So
I mean,
good.
she's always been in drama, so she's been on stage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and I feel like I need to stop moving my hands so much.
Why? What's the matter?
I noticed I talk with my hands a lot.
Oh, my kid just told me that on vacation. What were we saying? I can't remember. And she goes, she couldn't, like I was at a distance or something, and she's like, Mom, do you have any idea how much you talk with your hands? I can basically know exactly what you're talking about because you talk with your hands all the time. I'm like,
well,
okay.
my mom does it, and yeah, I know. So it's hard. Okay.
But what am I going to do? I feel like if I don't move my hands, I'm going to be like that awkward person that's running without moving their arms. Have you seen them?
Yes.
Their legs are moving and their arms are not moving. Like I would be like in my own head if I didn't.
I agree. I feel super awkward trying to keep my hands down, but I also watching me with Tristan, I was granted, I mean I did have a couple beverages. That was like a couple beverages in. So maybe I was a little more, than normal. But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I can't say a dang word without moving my hands.
That's funny.
But I feel like probably a lot of people.
Yeah,
that way, right?
I'm sure.
No, it's just us and my mom. Okay, so I have to ask you a question because I'm just noticing this.
What?
Are you trying to tan your other wrist?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, yes. Also, look, I don't know what happened there. I have like a little scratch or something. And so sometimes it like, so sometimes it like, so if it like today it was kind of bothering me, like not really not just, it was only like at the end of the day. So I was like, I'm just going to switch my hand.
Okay.
Give it a little.
Well, I just saw that and I was
laughing at so I have my watch and then I have my fake watch right here. You can always see that it's on.
That's great. But you probably weren't outside long enough for that to get a tan on it at all.
I was basically in the office all day. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
So P just returned from vacay.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
Very well, it was exciting to be there. I don't know if it's exciting to be back.
Right.
I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know, it's like I really do love my life, so it's fine. But it's like back to the.
Yeah, you just jump right back in.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do feel like a lot of people.
Thank goodness I don't like hate my job.
Yeah.
Because then it would be really shitty to come back to.
Yeah.
I don't hate my job, but I think like
you still have to recover from vacation from vacation is a real thing.
Also, can I just say, okay, so let's talk about this for just a second here. This isn't where we were going today, but let's just talk about it. So, we've talked about this several times where we vacation by ourselves, like just Tony and I. We vacation with the kids. We vacation with our families, so mixing different households. And then we also vacation with friends and their families and mixing households. Like, we are very comfortable traveling in many different calibers, you know? And this next fall is definitely going to be the most challenging traveling to Mexico to not just like Cabo, which would be a lot quicker of a flight,
Yeah.
traveling to Cancun on a long flight with all of our kids.
Yeah.
But that'll be a different mix. We'll see how that one goes. But
are your flights with your family's flights?
No, ours are not because we're coming a day earlier. I believe my brother and his fiance will be there already.
Okay, but you don't have any family on the flight with you?
No. No.
I mean, I know you guys will be fine.
Yeah, we will for sure. We will be fine, but it's just I think, but it's exciting for us because it's the next chapter for us of what we want to be able to do.
Right.
It's just that this one's going to be like, I think if we would have done it to where it was not for a wedding, it was just for a vacation.
Right.
We probably would have done Cabo with the kids and made it a little bit easier on traveling.
Yeah.
This is a little bit longer, but
how long is the flight to Cancun?
From I think it's 5 hours.
Okay.
Truly, honestly, my kids will probably watch 2 movies and be totally fine.
Yeah, that's
they
good.
really probably will.
That's good.
As long as I give them lots of, they're like animals, right? If I feed them, if I make sure they poop and pee, and if I put them in front of a television, they'll be okay. They'll be totally fine. And Tristan will probably sleep. I don't know. Or maybe she won't because she's on the airplane and she'll freak out. I don't know.
Is she gonna freak out?
I don't think so. We took her to Hawaii and she was fine.
And that's a pretty long flight, right?
Yeah.
How long is that one?
I think it's like 5 hours too. It was like 4 or 5 hours. But what I was gonna say is we were gone for 8 days with the kids at the beach. First of all, to pack your car up for 8 days with a family of 5 is difficult to pack for 8 days in a car.
Yeah.
There's just so much to pack,
Right.
So that was already going to be an interesting challenge. We wanted to get on the road early, so we packed the car, most of it the night before. Actually, pretty much everything we packed the night before. Luckily, I'm a great packer, and luckily, Tony is a great puzzle piecer. Like, he can, put...
Yeah, he's a little Jenga guy.
He really is. So
I guess Tetris.
Tetris,
right?
Yeah. So it was fine, but sometimes it's like there were points on the vacation where I'm like, dude, I want a vacation for my kids right now.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And Danny, so the youngest, was sick for a couple of days. And so she was super whiny and whiny. And I knew she wasn't feeling herself.
Right.
But also when it's day 3 and you've been on you're just trying to enjoy yourself.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And she wasn't awful. But I think a lot of it has to do with just the sun. I think it was too much sun that she got. She was fine by the time we went to the zoo. She was good. But yeah, she did a few days where she was down. I had to stay up on the house with her, kind of just, whatever. We took turns just kind of babying her and getting her to lay on us and cool her down. She had a fever. But yeah, I was vacation for my kids.
Yeah.
They're just kind of a lot.
Well, and I mean, the thing is so you guys were there with Tony's family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then that adds another layer, right? Because then there's other kids in the mix. So whether they're trying to be extra funny or trying not to maybe listen as much, or trying to do what the older kids are doing, or then they fight. The kids are fighting with each other, right? And you're like,
yes.
I think I need to go on a run.
Right. And I mean, there are sometimes I'm sure that it was helpful, I'm sure the older kids were able to distract them, but they can't distract them enough when you're with them 24/7.
Yeah.
I'm, I think here, if you're say you're here with them all day, every day, whatever. Yes, they're going to be frustrating, but they also have all of their stuff here.
Yes.
They have things that they can do by themselves, things to play with, all of that. At a vacation home, I mean, I'm sure you guys took some toys.
We did, and luckily the house was a very good size house. We actually had a pretty good size TV in our room. And so there were times where it was like, all right, let's go put on a cartoon and lay in bed and just hang out for a little bit. And they pretty much did, which was nice.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get out of the hair a little bit. I sound terrible, like I'm just sticking my kids in front of the television. But it's like those moments where you just kind of need, like, you need a break.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. No. And I mean, gosh, I know people feel differently. Some people are not okay with TV. Some people are like, it's fine, whatever. But I think whichever way you can survive, sometimes that's really what it is about, is just being able to get through this moment. Like maybe they are up your butt asking 90 bazillion questions, wanting to do 90 bazillion things, and you just need that moment.
Well, and like we did a lot with the kids. Like we were down at the beach. I mean, the house was on the beach, so it was great because we had like, it was like a little walkway down, but we were right on the beach.
Yeah.
But we also had like a little beach area of our own. So we were up at the house. We could lay out, we could have dinner out there, we could eat, we could have the kids could play in the sand, the kids could play, and it was great. And then we could also go down to the actual beach. And so we did so much of that, like all day. I took them to the park because the park was like 3 houses down. It was a really cute little park right by the beach. Walked to the park. I worked out at the park so they could play while I did my workout.
Nice.
I mean, like we were trying all these things. We took them to the zoo. We did things with them, but sometimes you're also like, we can't do. Like,
that I think that's a part of it too, is that you don't really have downtime.
Yeah.
You know?
We can't do.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. We're all exhausted.
Right. Yeah. Running on fumes. No.
Yeah.
I could see how that could be a struggle, but coming back and being back at home, have things kind of mellowed out?
Yes, they have. And the kids have actually been really good. Really, really good. I mean, they fight, but they've been really good. Other than that. And I hardly fought with my husband for 8 days. That's a plus, right?
That is a plus.
And I started my period, so I really could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do know.
And I feel like it's even worse right before you start your period. And I started my period like well into our vacation, so I felt like I went the whole time. Like
feeling like a maniac. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is great, especially because you're in a different place. You don't have space.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I mean, there are times when we're with family or whatever, and Jason will get on my nerves. It's like, okay, you think because we're here, you can blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're freaking annoying. Like, why don't I get to blah, 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 whatever, So it's like, sometimes there's those things that can really frustrate you with a spouse on vacation.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, really anywhere.
Yeah.
They can just get on. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they can.
No, they
can.
can.
They can.
They can. But so that is good.
And we were in a car for like 5 hours together,
Yeah.
To and from. So
yeah. No, that's great.
Good.
That's really good.
Yeah. But yes, nice to be home. There is nothing like showering in your own shower.
Yes.
Laying in your own bed and just knowing you're home.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
And then back at it. So, the kids started summer school today.
The littles
did. So they're doing like it's Georgia's school. So they, it's both of their schools now, but, it's a preschool through 12th grade. And
I didn't know they went through 12th grade.
Through 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
Through 8th grade.
Okay.
Through 8th.
Okay.
They're all, holy cow. No, through 8th grade. So, it would basically be like, I guess, like camp, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're not like doing schoolwork, right? I mean, they are doing like, they have STEM and stuff like that. There's different hours for different things, but a lot of it is just like fun,
right,
games for them. And so, because Danny will start preschool there in the fall, I had talked to them about it, and her daycare is closed for the rest of the summer because she goes back to Taiwan.
Right.
And so I was like, is there any chance that I could get her in with Georgia, like for a couple of days? And they're like, yeah, she's going to start anyway. Might as well. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome.
So the girls are going together. They don't have to wear their uniform.
I did notice that. I meant to say something about that.
Yep, it's free dress. Georgia was all about that.
Was she?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
She wanted to wear a dress today, though. And I'm like, it's free dress. You wear a dress every single day when you're at school in your uniform. Like, no, you're not wearing a dress today.
She's like, but I love it. I know it, Mom.
She does. So they pack their lunches. Danny is using a lunch bag that I think someone had bought Georgia one year for her birthday that she really didn't use it because
she wasn't at school.
Yeah. So she's using that, and she takes her water, and she was so excited. She was so excited. And I was excited for her because I'm like, hey, they're going to be together.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. I love her teacher. The school's like been prepping for her to come every time I talk to them.
Because she's a little hellion, or?
Well, I warn them every time I talk to them. I'm like, she's not that sweet. She just licks it. But I kind of got emotional today.
I know. So that is something that I wanted to talk about. So this is the baby. This is your last one. Yeah. And do you think it's because she was going into more of a school setting?
Yes.
So it was like she's starting.
Yes, because and she is not like of school age if you really think about it, right?
Right.
She's preschool age.
Right.
But it is a preschool at a big school.
Yeah.
So I think that adds that element. And I think what happened was we walk in and it's all the kids are playing on the blacktop. And when I say all the kids, I mean, it's a very small school. So it's not like a ton of kids are doing this. But there are kids out there and parents are walking them in or whatever. And I see the vice principal and she's out there and she's like, hey, and she's like, and her daughter is in preschool. And so she knew that she'd be going to preschool with her daughter and Annie would, and that George was moving on to TK, yada, yada. And so she's like, oh, there's Danny, there's Georgia and her sister Danny, and she was excited. And then we went and saw the teacher, and the teacher was like super excited and gave Danny a big hug. And I think Danny feels very comfortable in the class because every time we've gone to pick up Georgia, the teacher makes it feel very comfortable for her. And she's like, I can't wait till you're in my classroom. Aww. I'm going to have you in my classroom. So she's comfortable. She already
feels at home.
But the kids wanted to go back outside, which was where all the kids were playing in the morning. Right. And I just kind of choked up because I just saw how little she was.
Yeah.
And everyone's so big.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, she's so little.
Yeah.
I'm
well, I mean, really,
her.
Yeah, because if you're looking at okay, say she starts kindergarten, she is going to be bigger than she is, and she is very young.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, T did preschool, right?
Yes.
But do they go in at 4 for when can you start preschool? Because did she do it at the school?
She did. And I don't remember the rules back then. She's a August baby, so I feel like she would have been 4.
Okay.
which is a whole year older than Danny.
Right, right.
You know?
So, do you think that this means kindergarten, you will not get choked up?
Yes, I think that's probably the case. But then I'm like questioning myself, right? Like, am I rushing my kids into school? Am I rushing this? Am I making them grow up too quick? But they would be at
No,
daycare
why?
all day
Yeah.
anyway. Like,
Yeah.
they're either at preschool or at daycare, and they're going to be together.
Yeah.
And it's like this school is everything I want it to be right now for my family.
Right.
So why am I? But it just kind of like I started like
it's because she's so little compared to everyone else. But I mean, she's going to be in preschool for 2 years, right?
Yes.
So she'll be in preschool or TK,
yeah,
preschool and then TK,
yeah,
whatever it
yeah.
is. It's you're not pushing her into starting her school portion.
Right.
You know, this is all just like
Yeah.
free. So it's the same thing. She's doing the same stuff. You know, maybe she'll get a little more out of it,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be like, oh, she's graded and she's gonna feel pressured and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't think that there's a rush that
Yeah.
you're putting on it.
Well, and I have to think about, you know, come fall, you know, with Georgia last year with preschool, she went 5 days a week, 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening, because it's basically your preschool program ends about noon. They eat lunch, they nap, and then after nap, it's kind of like more lax, right?
Yeah.
From 3 or from like 1.
It's like an after school program type.
Pretty
thing.
much, yes. And she did great with it. And actually, she'd get mad if I picked her up early. She wanted to stay, and she wanted to go every single day. Like, she loved it. But I'm like, is Danny too young? Do I need to not send her every day? You know.
But
what does that look like for me?
But
I
mean, what would she be doing at daycare? Is what I think.
Well, I would just say that we'd have to keep her home with us, you know,
1 day a week,
or that's the thing. It is structured, so we'd have to go 5 days, 3 days, or 2 days.
Okay.
So we could do the 3 days, which means I'd probably have to change my schedule a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like there's less pressure with 5 days.
I do too.
Just because you guys don't have to worry about anything.
And like right now, like Fridays I work from home, and although we would be paying for Fridays, I could technically go and work in her classroom with her. I could get her out early. I could not send her. It's not going to make a difference. It's just preschool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not like I'm not pulling her out of kindergarten.
Yeah.
Or even TK, because really starting next year, Georgia's like
in school. Yeah, she's in TK, so she needs to be there. I mean, I think she's just fine.
I know. I think it just freaks me out because she's so, like, she looked so little. And I really think a lot of it had to do with the fact that she was just on the blacktop and there were bigger kids around. Yeah. It wasn't like when she was just in the classroom and all the kids are about
the same.
Yeah. Because a lot of them are. And actually, there's a lot of kids that are doing preschool 2 years.
Yeah.
So they went to preschool at Georgia last year, but they weren't old enough to go into TK. Yeah. So they are taking it again this year, and Danny will be with them. And some of them were there today, so it was like she's not the only little
right. I don't think that you would feel worried or concerned if you were putting her into a 5th day at daycare.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So, I think.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, no, I get it because it feels different.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the same.
And
I just think that she'll do really well.
I do too. I think she probably will. And I just have to tell you this story. So, as I'm like ready to cry, and I'm like kind of like, okay, we're going back out to the blacktop, and George is kind of walking ahead of us, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, Danny, are you excited to go play? And she's like, mm-hmm. And Georgia goes, okay, Danny, and you're not going to just come play with me. You're not going to just come and play with me all day. And I go, she is going to play with you, and you need to be nice to her. She's your little sister, and you need to introduce her to all your friends, okay? And don't leave her out. You make sure that you have her, that you're watching her. And she's like, okay.
So
like,
did she seem like a little irritated that she had to do it?
I think she was thinking like, yeah, I think she was for sure. So then I'm like, great. Now Georgia's not even going to watch her. Now I'm like, should I stay for a little bit and kind of keep an eye on her? You know, I'm like, oh my gosh. So we kind of walked down, and the vice principal's standing there, and she's got most of the little preschoolers around her because her daughter's in preschool, so she was around her. So she's like, hi girls, and I said, Danny, do you want to go play? And she goes, Danny, come hold my hand. Come on, let's play. Aww. Let's play together and come hang out with me for a little bit. And so they were all together, and she was just fine. I picked her up, and they're exhausted,
which is amazing.
It is amazing, but they had fun. She had fun. So
good. And so you do have a little bit of a mean girl, maybe, when she's like, you can't just come and play with me.
Oh yeah. Like, well, okay, tonight at dinner, so they're sitting at the table having dinner, and Georgia goes, I was talking to them about their day. What'd you guys do? You know, I'm trying to like get juice out of Danny.
Yeah.
She's like tight-lipped. So Georgia's like being the one to jibber jabber, and she's like, and then she's like, and then Catherine came up to me, and she was like, you're not my best friend, Georgia. And she's like, and I'm not her best friend, but we're the same age. And I was like, okay.
So that's what makes someone a best friend?
I don't know, but I was like maybe she's trying to say, well, we're not really friends, but we all like are in the same class. So it's okay. Fine. I don't know, but I was like, oh, okay, in preschool, I'm already getting a little catty, huh?
But she didn't care.
She didn't really care.
She's like, no, Catherine's not my best friend.
Yeah.
That's funny. But I also like that, I mean, she was a little bit of a mean girl, but she sounds like she's a boss too, because Danny was like, she was telling all her friends to bring her this and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, she must be in charge.
I don't know.
I wonder where she gets that from.
I have no idea.
Which is really cute to see at that age.
I know. We're sitting at the table, and she's making these faces when she's telling us these stories, right? And I'm just like, trying not to laugh so hard, because I'm like, why is she so animated?
Yeah.
I wish I could just record her the whole time.
Yeah. You should try.
I try, and she'll stop. She does not. She'll stop.
Why? Why are they?
I know.
That's so funny, though.
Yeah, like I told her, I said, okay, girls, I said, I just need you guys to stop growing now, okay? Everyone has to stop growing. So you have to stay 4. Danny, you have to stay 2, because she's going to be 3 in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have to stay 2, and you have to stay 4. And Georgia goes, she's eating, she goes, Mom, I'm going to be 5. And I go, no, you're never going to be 5. And she's trying to laugh. She goes, Mom, I'm going to be 5. And then I'm going to be 6. And then I'm going to be 7. And I'm like, you need to stop. And I'm like, oh. And she's cracking, like, she thinks it's hilarious. She knows that she's, like, breaking my heart, but, like, it's funny, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Mom. She is so funny, though. The way she talks, and you're right. She is so animated. It's funny. It's hilarious. We need to get her on the podcast one day.
I know.
Because she's hilarious.
Yeah. And she's like a canary if you ever want to know everyone's secrets.
Oh, I know. I'm not going to tell her secret, but yesterday when was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday when Jace came and picked up the truck.
Oh,
He goes, yeah. So I get there.
She told him a secret.
Yes.
I forgot to ask him what it was.
I won't say it here, but she goes, I'm going to tell you something my mom said not to tell anyone. But, and then Jason's like, well, that's fine. Sometimes we have to do that, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, it cracks me up because she's like, my mom said not to tell anyone, but. So, yeah, no, she's not allowed to know any secrets.
You better if she catches you in something, you better lie real good.
I've tried, and what about, at the party?
Yeah. Can we say this on air? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, if there are small children,
we're going to blow someone's cover.
Yeah, so maybe get them away from this next topic.
Yeah.
But this is her mind right now at 4.5. So we go to this birthday party for a friend, and it was a Marvel themed birthday party. And she had hired someone to come out and dressed as Hulk.
Yes.
Well, she tried to get someone to also dress like a Spider-Man, but they flaked, or it was like a mess. So she ended up being Spider-Man.
Yes.
So she wore the Spider-Man costume, and then she had someone come out to be Hulk. And I'm like trying to keep the kids from seeing everything.
Yes, you did a great job.
And then they walk in, playing the music, and they're, whatever. And she was a little bit of a feminine Spidey.
Just a bit.
But she did a great job. But they're there for, I don't know, probably almost an hour in that costume.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I know.
Taking pictures, doing games, singing happy birthday with the kids, all that stuff. And we go inside, and Georgia goes, Mom, sometimes you lie to me, and sometimes you tell me the truth. So tell me the truth. Was that a real Spider-Man and Hulk? They were just in a costume, huh? And I was like, I'm thinking, well, shit, she'll tell all the kids here.
Yeah.
Know? And so I go, I don't think that was fake. I think they were real. She's like, don't lie, Mom. Don't lie to me. And I go, no, I do think they were real. I'm pretty sure I don't know, how would someone know where to come and what kind of party we were having? And she was like, just tell me the truth.
She's like, I know you're lying.
I know. I'll have to ask their dad, just ask, to see if Mr. Harris, if that was real or not. And she's like, okay. And then you'll tell me. And I said, yeah. And then he walks by, and she's like, and I was like, not right now. I'll tell him later.
At the party.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's so funny. So I thought when Jason starts telling us, like, she said, I have a secret. I thought that was going to be the secret. But then it was something else. And I was like, oh my gosh. She is too much.
I know. She really is. But I'm in a weird spot because I think, like, I'm emotional. I got emotional seeing Danny today. I am a little emotional because Friday I know.
Tristan. I know. I saw that. I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah. I take Tristan on our first college campus tour.
Is she excited for it?
I think she is. So we kind of we didn't even really get into it, but I had texted her saying, did you remember to get Friday off because we have your tour? And she said, she never responded. So now it's like 11:30, and I'm like, hello.
Right.
And then she calls me, and she's like, how come you didn't tell me? And I was like, what are you talking about? It's been on our calendar for like a year. And she's like, well, I don't know. You have everyone in the world's birthdays on our calendar. And I'm like, okay, first of all, there isn't that much on the calendar.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to read.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, and I booked these like months ago.
Right.
So if you had questions as to where and what dates, you should have been responsible enough to say, Mom, what are those dates again, so I can put it on my calendar for work? And she's like, well, you could have just told me. I said, it is not my responsibility. What did I talk to you about being responsible? You need to take actions for yourself, and you need to be responsible for your own schedule. I am not going to be responsible for your schedule. If I need to reschedule because you cannot get the day off, I will. But you need to let me know. And she's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. I was like, well, you need to let me know either way today. And she's like, okay. So,
and it ended up being fine.
So she texted me later and said, I talked to Dad, I got it off. And I said, are you sure? I said, I'm not trying to like, if there's an issue, you've been off, because you've been off for 8 days, whatever.
Right.
I'm like, if you need to go in, that's fine. She's like, no, it's fine. I worked it out. It's okay.
Good.
But I think she is excited. I think that's why she didn't really want to cancel.
Yeah. Does that make you nervous?
No, I am happy about it. I just want it to all work out. You know?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of schools to see.
Yeah.
And I just want something to work. And I hope it does.
I just wonder, like, when it comes to her going.
I'll be a mess. I'll be worried. You know?
Yeah.
I'll be broke as fuck.
Yeah. That sucks. But the worried, so yesterday we just moved our younger daughter into her own apartment by herself. So she's lived in apartments before.
I thought she was going to move in with a roommate.
She was going to.
Okay.
Yeah, they were there was, I think, like 4 of them that were supposed to move into. I think they might have been moving into a house or something. And then one of them was like, you know what, I'm not going to move out. So then they couldn't do it. So then she was still at home with her mom. And she ended up finding this little studio. And it freaks me out more than when she was living with people. I mean, granted, I know living with people, stuff can happen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your schedules are all different. You're coming and going at different times. There were at her apartment before, I was like, you need to make sure that, like, this is locked. Like, do not leave your window open, please. She was on, like, a lower level. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I was, like, so nervous for her. You know, she works a job. So she leaves early in the morning when, depending on the time of year, it's dark. And then she works her other job. She gets off very late at night.
Yeah.
And it makes me really nervous, her coming and going. And, like, you know, when I said something about it, Lindsay said, well, I think she could mess someone up. But it's like, I mean, if someone has a gun, are you sure you can mess them up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And her mom, because I'm like, you need to make sure you have your stun guns out. Like, you need to make sure they're charged, make sure. So she has, like, she's like, I'll put one in this drawer, and I'm like, and she's like, in the other one, I'm like, just sleep with it. Like,
is she on like a higher level? Is she on a
so level? No, she is upstairs. Most of the apartments are upstairs. There's like 2 downstairs. It's kind of a weird setup. Like, there's 2 downstairs over here, and then the upstairs are over here. And so she's over, like, the carport area.
Okay.
And there's, I think, 4 other apartments. There's, like, 4 apartments upstairs. So
and
3 others.
Think of the little area.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think the town's a good town, you know? But there was, like, kind of some trash and stuff out. It didn't seem like it was it seemed pretty quiet. But, I mean, it's a college town, too. So I'm sure there's a lot of college kids around over there. So I don't know. I'm just nervous because they're like tucked back in the corner. When you pull into the driveway, there's like multiple apartments, like complexes, and they're like tucked in the back.
Yeah, no, I could see how her living on her own would make you worry. I worry about that too. I mean, if she decides to go away to school, she wouldn't be living on her own. She'd be living in the dorms.
Right.
At least there's like people around.
Right.
Not that things can't happen.
I
things
know.
can still happen, but just saying.
And see, that scares me too. Like, even being in the dorms, I'm like, oh my gosh, like walking from your car to the dorms, how far is it?
Right.
You know, depending on which building you're in or, you know, whatever. Maybe I listen to too many murder podcasts.
You probably do. I couldn't do that. I'm already a stress ball. I don't think I can do that to myself.
I love listening to them.
A lot of people do. A lot of women, they say a lot of women listen to them.
Yeah. But I feel like I like to know. So like I think it was when we were in Disneyland, I told Kyla, I was like, hey, you would never just like go meet a guy like at his place or something, like if he was on like a dating app or something, right? Like you're never gonna go somewhere private. She's like, no. Hayden's like, oh gosh, it's probably from one of her murder podcasts. I'm like, yeah, it actually is. It was the one I was just listening to. But I'm just saying stuff happens.
I know.
So I do like to know about those things.
I know, because I'll tell you this, it's funny. My ex-husband has said, he's like, I don't know, I feel like our kid would be the one to go up to a van who was giving out candy, and she'd be like, okay, I'll have one.
I feel like she's trusting.
Yes.
I don't think she's very skeptical of people.
No, I don't think so either.
Which, like, I think if somebody seemed to have good intentions and things like that, she wouldn't question it. Which is a scary thing, you know? Like, I mean, sometimes it's just like,
well, she told me that she's like, Mom, that's why I know karate. I'm like, well,
you're like, how are you brushing up on your karate every dang day? Because if that's what you're using, you better be on it.
Yeah, you're gonna need to start doing jujitsu then. We're gonna have to go next level.
Her little friend does it.
Does she?
Yeah, Emily does it. She's cute. Her and Sarah go at it. Mm-hmm. It's fun to watch them. You know, they go a little crazy. Mm-hmm. It's fun. But yeah, no, I was just wondering about that part of it, like the moving out part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I will have a million. I think I will be a mess once we get there, which will probably not be until, end of this year, beginning of next.
Yeah.
In preparation for it.
Right.
And then towards summer of next year, I'll be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's just exciting, but it's also it's also sad, because you're like, okay, I've got
this is happening.
Like, this is really happening, and then I've got these two littles, which thank goodness I do, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, as they start to get, then I'm really gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because then you don't have any more little babies.
Yeah, I had someone message me today, and they said, my oldest is in 5th grade, and it's like, where's time gone? And I'm like, yeah, my oldest is a senior.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I know.
I get it. It's like, oh my God, I know. Like, she's about to be an adult, and I don't even know how that's going to be possible.
I know. It's scary.
So scary.
Like the stuff that they don't know how to do on their own. It's like, oh gosh, how do I make you a functioning adult?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you figure it out, You let me know.
I mean, a lot of it is like seriously this last. I mean, it's kind of been a slow transition over the last few years, but I've been like kind of backing off of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like if you fail,
Figure it
you
out.
fail. If you fall, you fall. You better figure out how to fix it because I'm not going to always be here to fix it.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I mean,
told her this. This was like what I told her about grades. And the good thing about it is she has the desire to go to school after school. You know, not all kids do.
Right.
And she has said she's like, you know, she wants to go. So as her grades slip or as something happens, I've been like, look, it's more than you're going to make mom mad or I'm upset with you and now you're in trouble and give me your phone. You're doing this to yourself.
Right.
Because ultimately, the only person that you're really hurting is you because you're taking opportunities away from yourself.
Yeah.
So you're the one doing it to you. I'm not doing it to you. And it's more than me. It's more than me. You getting a bad grade is more than me getting on you.
Right.
It's you.
Does that?
I think that resonates with
that's
her.
good. That's good. See, I don't know if that'll work for me. I don't know. I mean, I do. I don't know. Probably for the last 2 years, I've made Hayden like you need to be in contact with your teachers. Like I'm not gonna message your teachers asking for work. Like you have the ability to email them. You email your teacher. You ask them for those things. Figure this out. Like you better figure it out. It's up to you. But then it's like other real life stuff. I'm like, can you figure these things out?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he's getting close to where he could get his driver's permit. But I'm like, have you looked into this? Are you doing anything? Because I'm not doing it for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if he'll do it. I don't know.
Yeah, kids are weird about that today.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm not going to buy him a car, so I understand that part of it. But I didn't have a car when I got mine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have it because that's what you do when you're 15 and a half, right?
Yeah.
Like, get your driver's permit so you get your license, and it doesn't matter if you have a car or not, you're able to drive.
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand. And he's, like a month away, a little over a month from being able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But has he looked at any of it? I told him just yesterday, actually, you are in the age group where technology is a thing for you. Like he was really making me feel so old a couple weekends ago because he's like, Mom, you just do this. And I'm like, gosh, I'm like how when I tell my mom, like, Mom, it's so easy, it's this. And I'm like, I don't know these things. Like this is not my thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you were in that age group where technology is like, you guys are all about it, right? I was like, I don't know why I'm having to tell you you need to Google something. Like, don't you know that already? Like if you want to know something, Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I having to tell you?
Maybe you should tell him to ask Jeeves. See what he does.
You know what? I'm gonna bring up learner's permit, and I'm gonna tell him to ask Jeeves, and I'm gonna see what he says. Is that gone?
I don't know.
Like, because Internet Explorer went away.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
It was a whole big deal. Yes. However, I have Internet Explorer. Like at work, we have it, but when I pull it up, it like asks me, it doesn't really pull stuff up, and it asks me if I want to, basically, if I want all functions, do I want to open Microsoft Edge?
Oh, it's Edge now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
they decommissioned Internet Explorer, I guess.
Okay, so it only lasted to 2005, and then Yeah. And then they changed it, they rebranded to ask.com.
Is that a real thing now?
But it is called ask.com.
I'm going to say Ask Jeeves, though.
Yeah.
And see what he says.
It's got the little red.
It's still got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's so funny.
I wish Jeeves was on here, though. I need his little...
Yeah. It boggles my mind that they come to me with questions about stuff that you could easily.
Because they're lazy.
It is.
They really are. I mean, seriously.
How many Alexas do you have in your house, right?
Yeah.
And then my kids are struggling doing their homework. I'm like, why the fuck aren't you asking Alexa? Like, that's what I would do.
Uh-huh.
Why? What is happening here?
They don't want to take the time to figure it out.
Yeah, it's like you're going to sit there and be like, when you could have just asked.
Yeah. It's like when Danny's looking at me and there's a blanket right there and she says, I can't get my blanket. And I'm like, go get it. I can't. Why? I don't know how. And you use your legs and you walk over and you grab it. But it's the same kind of thing. It's like,
yeah,
you guys are just being lazy.
Yeah.
Just go do it. Just
Exactly.
figure it out. Trust me, we had to figure out a lot worse. Imagine them trying to figure out the fax bus schedule today.
They would be so confused. Granted, I might be confused because, they use like ATM cards and stuff now at the bus stops.
They do?
Yes.
Oh.
There's a screen and all kinds of stuff where you purchase your tickets.
Is that because of COVID?
I don't think so because they had started updating before COVID,
Oh.
but I feel like they rolled out a lot more during COVID. So maybe that's why. But I mean, as far as figuring out routes, it's still the same, but buying my ticket, I might be confused. I don't know. It reminds me of in
what?
When you go to Tijuana.
Oh.
Like when you're buying what is it that you take from San Diego? It's like bar.
Yeah.
But down there, I don't remember what it is.
I don't know. When I went to TJ, I just walked across the border. Literally.
Well, yeah, but depending on where you are in San Diego,
well, we drove to San Diego
because we were in
stayed in a crappy little hotel
right by the border.
Yeah.
Oh, we weren't right by the border.
And then we got our first one.
Okay, yes. Okay, I wasn't by the border. No, I think I was in San Ysidro, I think.
Okay.
So I had to take from over there.
I know what you're talking about, though. I
don't know what it's called,
yes.
but yeah, and it would take you to the border, and then you had to cross.
Yeah.
There, on foot, and then get into an Uber. Craziest damn drivers ever. Did you never get in one of those cars?
I got into a taxi.
Yeah, and they're crazy.
Yeah.
Right? There's no laws.
There's no laws. There's no roads. You just do whatever the fuck you want.
Drive wherever, however. It's fine.
But you notice the gas stations?
No.
No? They're all government owned.
They are?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I never noticed the gas stations. Sorry, that took.
I know we took.
You let me go off on a tangent. See, you're supposed to hold me back.
The only thing I'll say, because we're running out of time, the only thing I will say is, are you? So I'm all emotional and getting old. As my daughter told me today, I have old face.
I don't want her to look at my face.
Be mean, Mom, but you have old face, especially when you don't wear makeup.
Oh man, thanks. I needed that after today's emotional.
I was like, cool. Really? Last week she told me that my belly is so big. Why is my belly so big if I don't have a baby in it?
She is just on it.
Yeah. But are you emotional at all with your youngest being done with elementary school and going into junior high?
I did get emotional on the last day of school. And on his first day of school, I'm sure I will get emotional. But
because
right now, no.
Baby.
Yeah.
That's it.
All done.
You know what I mean? He's like a big boy now.
Yeah.
Not it's just different.
But in a few years, I'm going to have only adults.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I still feel like I'm not. Which my kids are like, you're so old. And I'm like, no, like in my head, I'm not.
I know.
In my head, I really don't feel that way. But
I was this morning at the gym, and one of the guys I hadn't seen in like, I just assumed he canceled his membership. I mean, I haven't seen him in probably 3 months. And I walk in, and he's in there. I go, hey, you're back. And he's like, yeah, I had hurt my back. And so I haven't really been able to do anything, yada, yada. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's called getting old. I'm just getting old. And I go, oh, that sucks. I go, yeah, I hurt my tailbone
that's right.
like a month ago, and I don't know what I did. And it still can't really lay on it, but it hurts less now. And he goes, it's called you're getting old. And I was like, I'm like,
no,
no.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Maybe in a way we are getting there.
I guess we're at least older than our kids, right?
Yeah.
And so they like to rub it in.
Sure.
But yeah, so thanks so much, you guys, for taking that ride on all the tangents I went off on.
Kids, they're just
exactly.
They're a lot.
They are. Thanks so much, you guys. We appreciate you.
All right. Thanks for swapping with us.